Limited resources has undermined the success of millions of businesses across the world, and this will continue to happen once rising stars in business continue to underestimate the cost of doing business. Now, this brings me to a focus point that I want to talk about today. There's the concept that we call the power of singularity, and what exactly does this mean? It means that doing one project at a time may give you more ROI than doing multiple projects at once. This also brings into focus the power of singularity versus the power of delegation. Now, let me explain the power of delegation. Many rising stars in business, they do not have the power to delegate, again, because you have limited resources. You have limited human resources, technical resources, and capital resources to move a process of progress forward. So when you recognize that you do not have this power to delegate because of limited resources, it makes sense to focus on what we call the power of singularity, the power of one. Now, what exactly are the benefits of focusing on singularity? And just let me expand on this. Focusing on a single project means that you're able now to reduce the cost of doing business. You're able to better influence effective time management. You're able to reduce stress level. And guess what? It's a smart way to market entry and to increase the brand visibility. It's also a smart way to increase the business cash flow. And last but not least, it's definitely a smart and clever way to successfully or position your business to be more successful, because you have one project and you're committing all of the human, technical, and capital resources to that one project. Now, again, the reason we're going to emphasize this, because many rising stars in business, you don't have the power to delegate because you have limited human resources, technical resources, and capital resources. So you don't have the wherewithal to hire the best people and to delegate responsibility to those best personalities and to move the vision that you have in mind forward. Now, the implementation of multiple projects at once with limited resources will force one project that is successful to cancel the success of the other. This is what the research is showing. This is what historical did. So it makes a whole lot of sense for you to pause a bit and really try to understand the wisdom that is being shared here today, the power of singularity. It is because of dwelling on this subject for quite a number of years, we have coined a term that we call your MVO. And what the MVO does, it enables you to master your value proposition. But let me go deeper into this. I'm going to give three definitions of what the MVO represents. One, the MVO represents your minimum viable offer, and this is the 1 in 10 factors of brand selection. You may have 10 things that you want to do, but you identify the one that you're going to go to market with. You identify the lowest hanging fruit that will enable you to go to market with the highest degree of ease. You're selecting the lowest hanging fruit, the minimum viable offer. And with that being said, you're committing all of your human, technical, and capital resource to the minimum viable offer. With this, that project is much better positioned to be successful. Of course, there are other factors to consider, but this is fundamental. The next concept that I want to look at under the MV is what we call the most viable offer. This also represents the 1 in 10 factors of brand selection, but instead of going to market with the lowest hanging fruit, you're now identifying premium target markets. And in identifying your specific target market in this context, you're also taking the time to understand what are their motivators, what are their drivers, how to command attention, pique interest, and arouse this specific target market attention. And again, with the limited resources that you have, you could now apply that your limited resources to really position you to have the best possible understanding of what the most viable target market represents in this context. The third and last concept that I'm going to give you here is what we call the maximum viable offer. This is you going to market with multiple value offer while fully aware that you have limited resources to move this process forward. You have limited human resources, technical resources, and capital resources to move that project forward. So what happens? You have limited resources, the project, the process, and you may self-sabotage. All right. And that's the last thing that you want to do as you move your business ideas forward. One of the things that we often say, look before you leap. Long before you start that business process, you should be asking yourself, what is the real cost of doing business? All right. And when you understand this, then is when you make the leap. Again, there are tremendous benefits in pausing and really asking yourself, what is the wisdom in singularity? And that's going to market with one value offer in the eyes that you have limited resources. And these are the benefits. One, it reduces the cost of doing business because you're focusing on one thing, not multiple things. It influences effective time management. You're now able to allocate time to achieve an end results with one project as against multiple projects. It reduces your stress level. Managing multiple projects is never easy. It's a smart way to market entry and increasing visibility. Now, it's easier to go to market with that MV and increase the visibility based on the available resources that you have. Next is what we call is a smart way to increase the business cash flow. Here is where you can now identify the human resources that's going to help you with the brand visibility and reach and impact and client conversion and monetizing that brand. All of this is possible. And last but not least, it increases the success rate of that business because the resources, the limited resources that you have available is not split. It is focused and concentrated on getting the one project, the singular project done at the highest standard to achieve the highest degree of impact with the ideal client. My name is Gary Thompson, and I trust that you would enjoy this nugget today.